watching Hubware Galactic. I'm Oliver Zark, and in today's report, we will take a look at this year's launch week venue and talk to active Navy starmen about their Invictus preparations. But first, Imperial news. Taxpayer money is being wasted by the CDF. According to Senator Pushkas, the Civil Defense Force is an economic open wound for the UEE, bleeding credits left and right from having some of the most loose payout frameworks in the verse. Here's the Senator.
It's a disgrace. Contracts start to pay out while CDF pilots are not even in sight. They're sitting around in their auroras, away from the fighting, eating hot dogs and not even equipped for any sort of defense. Hundreds of thousands of credits daily simply being withdrawn from CDF accounts and thrown into the pockets of so-called mercenaries.
The CDF were recently tasked with defending the Navy base Jericho station in Stanton from attacking Xeno-threat forces. And while the CDF were active around Stanton, a civilian managed to grab this footage of pilots gathering in MIC L1, a nearby refinery station.
And then I said, "No sir, your pants are on fire."
Burn. That reminds me of my graduation. Me, drunk, 890 cruise on Caselli.
Ooh, Nova 5K coming in.
Nice. I'm off to buy me that Novikov. You want anything?
They sell missiles?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good.
Right. Like, who are you gonna shoot anyways?
Right? CDF,
CDF, CDF.
While Xeno-threat were pulling their usual tricks, the CDF were looking weak. Xeno-threat have been unsuccessful in the past, but this time, the Navy Javelin docked at INS Jericho was hit hard, as CDF pilots neither retrieved the supplies nor defended the Warhammer from incoming attacks. Through her office, Stanton's CDF coordinator, Rowena Dooley, has denied commenting on the attack, further making way for even more criticism toward the CDF. If the Navy lost the Warhammer, it would be a huge loss for Stanton, as it's the one Javelin cruising around the system during Fleet Week, providing curious fans of the Navy a look inside the ship. Something that is now considered a hard maybe after the attacks. In another part of the system, the UEE Navy Pathfinders division is preparing for the upcoming Area 18 celebrations.
As the Chief Petty Officer of the Carrier Star Wing for the UEE Pathfinders, I can tell you that we take the threats posed by Xeno-threat and any other hostile entities very seriously. We're doing everything in our power to prepare for any potential attacks and to ensure the safety of the citizens of the Stanton system. Corporal Jackal from the UE Marines is here with me today to explain some of the proactive actions that we have been taking.
As for the upcoming Invictus celebration, we are working hard to ensure that they are as safe and secure as possible. Additional personnel and resources to key areas around the system have been deployed, including at spaceports, public spaces, and key infrastructure facilities. We are also conducting regular security sweeps and drills and prepare for any potential emergencies. In addition, we are training our personnel to respond to a variety of scenarios that could arise during Invictus celebration, including terrorist attacks, sabotage, or any other forms of hostile activity. Our goal is to be ready for any eventuality and to ensure that the celebrations go off without a hitch. Overall, we take our responsibility as Pathfinders very seriously, and we are doing everything in our power to protect the citizens of the Stanton system from any and all threats.
The UEE has announced a new trade agreement after meeting with the Xi'an trade delegation, paving the way for increased economic cooperation between our two civilizations. The agreement, including the exchange of services and cultural knowledge, is believed to be a political response after Imperator Addison's nominee for UEE ambassador in the Xi'an Empire was rejected by the Senate back in 2951. Addison was then prompted to rethink her nomination of Xi'an diplomat Hyoyoung to Yi, whose nomination was voted down by senators who didn't feel they knew the Xi'an culture well enough. This trade agreement can blow some wind in the sails for Imperator Addison. Now, let's go over to our reporter, who right now is in Area 18, investigating what we might expect from this year's Invictus launch week.
Welcome to ArcCorp, where the Invictus launch week in Stanton is once again back in the Bevic Convention Center. The Navy last paid Area 18 a visit in 2950, and later in 2951, for the first time in Stanton history, the Navy introduced guided tours on board an active duty Javelin, the UEES Warhammer. This year should be no different, and with Captain Metcalf and his crew having just finished up a skirmish against Xenothreat, there's no telling what interesting and inspiring stories the crew of the Warhammer have in store for us. But as you move through the ship, remember to be respectful, as not all Starmen are comfortable discussing potential fresh losses and stressful situations from just a couple weeks back. In Area 18, things are looking a little different compared to the 2950 event. The weather is cloudier and the show floor is redesigned, indicating there might be some new ships available for the public to see. The only question we want answered is, can we try them, or will they be restricted for military use only like the Anvil F-8A Lightning? While focusing on decorating the landing zone, the Navy is silent on the subject, keeping us in the dark until May 19. As a side note, Hurst and Dynamics are trying to capitalize on the increased tourism to the system by treating visitors with access to polluted Lorville rooftops and newly installed LED building art. And if the air was any cleaner, maybe we could even see it. Good luck with that. For Hubwire Galactic, I'm Jake Foley.
I'm getting word we have a CDF-affiliated Hubwire reporter on Jericho Station, ready to interview a Navy officer about the Xenothreat situation. Ready to connect visual?
Yes, I'm here with leading Starman OKOYE, who is stationed on the INS Jericho. Starman OKOYE, the last few weeks we've seen some brutal attacks on the Navy base and the station Javelin. What's going through your mind?
Well, if I had to say it's been hard, it's not accurate enough. We've had to basically fend off the attack by ourselves. A few CDF pilots have helped out, but most never flew out here because the CDF pays them anyway. The UEE has a strong Navy, though, and this beast has defended herself without assistance before.
What are your thoughts on the CDF right now?
I want to send a thank you to the few pilots who managed to get here and help us out. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe the military should be in charge of deploying military aid instead of having to wait for the advocacy.
Former Starman and HubNet producer Natronic says he thinks the whole thing is a mess, and that we can't afford to pay people for a task they're unable to support. Problem solving first, paychecks later. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, he's right, but I'd like to take it one step further and say Dooley should resign.
Well, people, you heard it here first. Navy and advocacy relations are frosty right now. For Hubwire Galactic, I'm Markus Hurst.
A bold statement indeed from an active Navy Starman. Anyways, that's all we had tonight. I'm Oliver Zark, and you are wiser than yesterday. Be safe, and I'll see you in Area 18. This Hubwire News Report was brought to you by Zark Media, with the help of our investors and sponsoring organizations, where the biggest one is Ursadai Limited, when you need the job done right the first time.